Travis Wayne Goodsell. So apparently I'm going on a bathing strike until I stop being inspired for videos. You have to understand, if I don't do the video immediately, they pile up. And there's 3 binders on the floor that have piled up over the years. So I wanted to get this out because I don't know how else to get it out. So we'll get it out here for this one. The story of Samuel in the book of Samuel, which technically is the first book of Kings and the second book of Kings rather than the first and second books of Samuel. Nonetheless, notwithstanding, doesn't matter. Knowing the origin language of which the English translation came from makes the story hilarious. You see that the author had a very good sense of humor as well as a message. And so let me summarize the story of Samuel for you from the Old Testament. God speaks to the name of God, about God, in the temple of God, concerning the 2 sons of God. Hilarious. But you'll never catch it if you didn't know Hebrew. So, with that hilarium, apparently helium is disappearing from the Earth's atmosphere. No more helium balloons, I guess. The first picture that I show you is right now, 12th of March at seriously? Oh, I probably moved it ahead. I don't think it's the time change yet. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing. Yeah, okay. I moved it an hour ahead to center it in the screen. Tomorrow we spring forward. So I was kind of worried as I saw 9 instead of 8. I was wondering if I sprang forward and didn't realize it. And so, yeah, kind of cool. You know, there's a train following the sun. Choo-choo! And you can only see it before the sun rises, because once the sun rises, everything else is eclipsed by the light. And so you have Jupiter, who's the closest to the sun. He was just at the thigh with the sun in the waterfall of the high priest symbol of Aquarius. And then Mercury is back there. And then Saturn is there at the tail of the goat beast for the falling star. And Venus and Mars are there at the shoulders of the goat beast. As I did that video for you yesterday, wasn't it? Or was it earlier? So kind of cool. That's what it looks like with the sun dark, or the sky darkened despite the sun shining. You can do that with the stellarium. So fun stuff. So before I get to the others, for tomorrow, it's gonna be tomorrow, we'll talk about Battlestar Galactica. Glenn A. Larson right? I probably should check that if I'm going to keep referring to Battlestar Galactica. He's a Mormon, and yes, he was involved with Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers. And I gave up on Buck Rogers in season 2 when they started to conform more to Battlestar Galactica. It was like completely new cast of characters, even though a couple remained. Glenn A. Larson. Yep, that be him. He was born in Long Beach, California, died in Santa Monica in 2014. And yep, Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers are those under movies and TV shows. And I'm pretty sure there was lots of others. Yeah, Quincy, M.E. Let's do a quick homage to him. Criticism? What? A Mormon being criticized? What? Lawsuit against Universal Studios. Despite his success, much criticism has been aimed at Larson for his perceived general lack of originality. Yeah, Buck Rogers season 2. Sensing a theme. He's trying to enter into Battlestar Galactica with that, as many of his television series are seen as small screen knockoffs of feature films. Apparently there's an autobiography stated Larson stole a number of plots of the Rockford Files. Okay, so that's then used them for his own shows. Okay, so he learned from the Book of Mormon plagiarism. Come on. Can't blame him for being raised up Mormon. They don't even mention his Mormon background. Cases closed. Apparently it was just the Rockford Files that everybody was complaining about with the criticism. Huh. Alright, well. Does it even say he's Mormon? He appeared in Gidget. Big man down on the station for preps. Fall Guy. The theme from this song. Okay, so he was involved with a song for that. The Fugitive. For Quinn Martin. Alright, let's get down to his filmography. They're not showing Mormonism blatantly. So, The Fugitive, he was a writer. That was 1966, not the movie version. Or the Wesley Snipes. Well, no, that was Harrison Ford, Fugitive of 2, which is actually renamed as Marshals. Something Marshalls. Can't remember. But yeah, I took the U.S. Marshals. Was that it? Because I'm thinking of another movie also that is titled U.S. Marshals, which is a good movie also. Anyway, I digress. Harrison Ford, not his movie. 12 O'Clock High. It takes a thief to plagiarize the Rockford Files and the Book of Mormon. The Virginian, McLeod, alias Smith and Jones. And so, yeah, all of those, he was writer. $6 Million Man? I was so excited when I saw the special made-for-TV movie from the $6 Million Man, where the $6 Million Man frees those who were taken hostage in this room. And of all people, the Wendy's guy, Dave Thomas, stands up and says, "Thank you, Steve. It was awesome." And now he's dead, and his daughter took over, and it's going to hell. Should have remained the poster child for the company. Alright. Because Demolition Man says that Taco Bell wins the franchise wars. Get Christy Love, Switch, Quincy M.E., Betty and Barney, Las Vegas Undercover, Hardy Boys? He wrote those? Holy crap. This guy is awesome. Everything. How is he? It's the one thing he plagiarizes, and they criticize him for everything? As a hack? Come on. Evening in Byzantium, The Islander, Double Life, Battlestar Galactica, Sword of Justice. Yes, sword. If you're saying sword, you're pronouncing it wrong. There's a W in there. Cliffhangers. He didn't write that one. Buck Rogers. So Battlestar Galactica came out before Buck? And so you screwed up the Buck Rogers show with season 2 to go to Battlestar Galactica theme? And then he's got 2 separate ones. He's got one in 79, and then 1979 to 81, which must have been season 2. The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, BJ and the Bear, Battles, The Murder That Wouldn't Die, Galactica 1980. Yeah, that was a little weird with the Magic Kid. Nightside, Magnum P.I. Yes! I patterned my look after Thomas Magnum and Don Johnson of Miami Vice in high school. Fits and Bones, The Fall Guy, Rooster, Simon and Simon 2. You wrote? Oh, awesome. And Knight Rider. He does a cameo in a song. I need to use that as my theme song in the description below. What is that song is going to bug me. It's where a woman loses her leg as she trips and falls. I can't remember the song. David Hasselhoff, that's it. I hope I can find it with David Hasselhoff. The Hoff. Manimal, Trauma Center, Automan. I got that. I have yet to watch it. I didn't know he was a part of that too. Masquerade. Masquerade. That's a different Masquerade. That's Phantom of the Opera. That was so inspiring, seeing it off Broadway. Cover Up, Half Nelson, In Like Flynn, Crazy Dan, The Highwayman. the Road Raiders, Chameleons, PS1. I'm sure it's I Love You. There's texting here. Stay afloat. One West Waikiki. Oh no, he didn't write that. Nor Team Knight Rider. He didn't write that. But he's in the other column next to it for producer. And then he's back for Nightman, Darwin Conspiracy, Millennial Man, the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, but not Caprica. And not Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome. Interesting. And not the reboot of Knight Rider. He was a producer in those last three. Huh. Interesting. And he's written books. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew mysteries. They meet Dracula, Battlestar Galactica, the Cylon Death Machine, Tombs of Kobol. Switch the L and the B. What do you get? Wonder where we got that from. Yeah. War of the Gods. Yeah. So, despite the criticism for the one show, Stealing Hacks, I have been greatly influenced by him and did not know it. Alright, so, in Battlestar Galactica, if you didn't know, the 13 tribes of Israel are the 13 tribes of Israel because of Joseph. This is the Sunday school lessons going on right now. You need to know this stuff for your eternal salvation. He gets the double portion as the birthright blessing son. So Ephraim and Manasseh are in the place of Joseph for the house of Israel. And so if you notice any maps of Israel divided among the sons, you will see Ephraim and Manasseh both having their location, and you will not see Joseph. That's why. 13 sons of Jacob the usurper. As the 14th is Dinah. And I did that video because the church will not talk about it. The rape of Dinah, which became the capital of the northern tribes. And so, why does this matter for the latter days? Everything. It's essential to your eternal salvation and your physical salvation on earth. He also does another one where he gets beaten up by his girlfriend, I think. No, that's a different guy. Yeah. Because the singer is in a grocery store in the video, and David Hasselhoff comes up to him and tries to get him to go say hi to a girl who's broken up with him, and they're talking about it, and oh, that really sucks, man. Something like that. It's been a while since I've seen it. Alright, so 13 has to do with the house of Israel, not 12. That needs to be understood, because you've been born and raised to believe the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 sons of Jacob. No, 13. 13 is the number. And so we tend to shy away from 13 because of Friday the 13th. And we know it has something to do with the Knights Templar, but most people don't really know. It's when the Catholic Church joined with the king of, was it Spain, to destroy the Knights Templar and their popularity and their wealth, and shut the whole operation down that a previous pope had granted to them. And that's where Egyptian gold plates come from. Egyptian gold plates, not golden plates. Don't confuse them with golden. They're gold plates. Egyptian gold plates. As well as the learning of the Jews concerning the Holy Grail, the bloodline of the Messiah. Don't confuse that with Jesus. Learning of the Jews. Think learning of the Jews, not Christianity. And so America with New Jerusalem. Egyptian gold plates, America for New Jerusalem. Bloodline of the learning of the Jews, Messiah. Anybody caught on so far? And so Sunday, tomorrow, is the 13th. The 13th of March, 2022. And we are in the Jewish calendar month, which is a leap year this year. So we have an extra month added to the 12 normal months. 13th month. 13's all over the place here. Remember last year when I did one about 9s? Well, tomorrow will be 13s. And so even though it's the 13th in our calendar, as would it be understood by the Smith family, who were in the Yorkites, Freemasonry, with the Knights Templar as the highest rank. So they knew all about that. And we're in the New Israelites in Vermont for Jewish mysticism, learning of the Jews, Tree of Life, prophecies of the latter days, Hebrew as the angelic tongue. So they would know all about that too. That's coincidental. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the Egyptian gold plates given to Joseph Smith by Nephi, not Moroni, and Heavenly Father and Jesus, Christian Jesus, coming to Joseph Smith and saying, don't join Christianity, and that creed where Jesus is created by Constantine is an abomination, because that's Jesus, right? Not the learning of the Jews, Messiah. Right? But tomorrow is the 10th day of Adar 2, the 13th month. 10 is for perfection in Hebrew. It had it. We gotta pull it up on the internet. And so instead of Shua for 9th, Teshua, the cross Ankh symbol in Egyptian character equivalents in Paleo-Hebrew, with Shua for salvation, 9th gate, not to be confused with Johnny Depp's Ninth Gate, for Lucifer's copycat religion of the Great and Abominable Church, that I was told as a kid in the Mormon Church. I was told by my teachers, and seminary teachers, I think even probably in institute teachers, Lucifer imitates God, but he has no authority. So his church will look exactly like our church. I'm being told this as a Mormon, as a kid. The Great and Abominable Church will look exactly like ours. It'll have the same rituals. It'll have the same structure. They're telling me this. They don't think, but it's just, it's hilarious. And it comes from a scripture. As we sidetrack here, this is hilarious. Imitate. Only one? In Abraham. Yeah, they're using it from the book of Abraham concerning Pharaoh. Pharaoh, being a righteous man, established his kingdom and judged his people wisely and justly all his days, seeking earnestly to imitate that order. What order? Jesus' order, right? Christian Jesus, established by the fathers in the first generations, in the days of the first patriarchal reign, even the reign of Adam, and also of Noah, concerning the priesthood. They had no authority because of some incident that happened when Ham walked into the tent of his father Noah, saw him naked, told his brothers walked backwards with a blanket and covered up their father's nakedness, and then when Noah was out of his drunken state, he then cursed Ham's son Canaan. What did I do, Grandpa? Why are you cursing me? What did I do? And if you didn't know, the reason why people associate Egyptians with black skin and why Shem is the birthright blessing son and Shem are supposed to be servants to Shem, Ham are supposed to be servants to Shem, is because Ham is not Ham, it's Cam. And when you add a T as the grammatical termination, it becomes the land of Chem, kingdom of Chem also, but land of Chem, for Kemet, which is the Egyptian word for the northern part of Egypt, the black land. Chem in Egyptian is black. Add the grammatical termination of the T, which is the feminine singular, but also for land as the feminine, because you plant seeds in the ground. Have you been taught? Well, you probably haven't. None of us have been properly taught sex ed. But nonetheless, there is a switching that goes on in Egyptian, because the original Heliopolis creation glyph has woman as the sky rather than the land, which is a male. Nonetheless, technicalities, you have to know them, but yeah, it's Egypt is named the Black Land in Egyptian. So there's nothing cursed about it. It's just because the Bible author says that Shem, which is the name which came from the Ogdod creation glyph of the Egyptians, who is the head god of the Egyptians, whose name is Amun, or you might recognize it as the god Emmanuel, which is redundant because El is God, the god Amun, from Isaiah. That's his name, not Jesus. It was Constantine. So there's a little vet for you. I'm sure you all wanted to hear that, right? So 10 has, like Jesus, spelled backwards of Isaiah, gone over that with you in Matthew. They won't say the name Isaiah as the prophet who gives the prophecy about Emmanuel, but they call his name Jesus, which is the reverse of Isaiah. Hilarious. And so the difference is that you have L, the Hebrew letter R, which comes from the Egyptian flag or ensign, which is the symbol in Egyptian for God. And so as it is in the suffix determinative position, it's the God of salvation. 10th. Which would be Jesus, except that it's Isaiah. But the God is represented by Yah instead of by the generic title of God. And so Isaiah is number 10, in case you were wondering. That is the name of number 10 in Hebrew. That is the meaning. And they don't give us meanings. That's strange. I wonder why they don't know it. I guess they didn't decipher Paleo-Hebrew like I did. So that you got exclusive information there. So now you know why Jesus is so hung up on Isaiah and his writings. It's as if I was the author. And so the letter 13 in Hebrew is the mem, the phonetic of M, mu in Greek. You probably know mu more than you would know mem. And so Paleo-Hebrew comes from Greek. They're siblings, so to speak, because they have the same God. Yah is not God, or is not Yah for the Hebrew God, the Paleo-Hebrew God, because Yah is Semitic, come from Shem, the Egyptian, who somehow became the god of the Mesopotamians, but that's not the god of the Mesopotamians. It's Marduk and Esther, Ishtar, Mordecai and Esther, who are the gods of the Mesopotamians, and other gods as well, but I digress again. And so Mem is the 13th letter, Mu, which is Aquarius, the high priest symbol, because it's got the wavy lines for the waters above the head, with the J stroke being for human. And so high priest, therefore from the Egyptian character itself, and thus Aquarius. But again, our calendar is different than the Jewish calendar, and so it's not the 13th, it's the 10th for Isaiah, the God Isaiah, the God of salvation. But it is the 13th month, and on the 10th day of the 13th month is tomorrow. So today's the 9th. 9 gates. And there were 2 Mormon boys sitting in front of me in the movie theater. That was pretty much empty. Nobody was really watching the movie. There was one other person further up, I think, but I don't think anybody was behind me. And they sat in the row in front of me, but off to the left. And so I was able to overhear their whispering to each other about how they did not understand what was going on in the movie. And were freaked out with the ending scene because they did not understand what it was they were watching. I really wanted to say, guys, you don't know what you're doing here. Go home. And so some other, there's another one. Yeah, Jesus. Jesus is number 13. 12 apostles, and the firstborn birthright blessings on Jesus, a man like Moses, Samson, Isaiah, etc., is number 13. And so Peter is seer, and Jesus is Yah of salvation, which comes from Zeus with the Greeks, because it's not Semitic, it's Greek, Zeus. That's the Paleo-Hebrew god. Again, that's my exclusive information for you, because a lot of the stuff that I've given you, and I talked about Acts, the book of Acts yesterday, gave you some exclusive material on that, is because the New Testament has opened up for those of me who have the knowledge. And apparently I think I'm the only one left, except for I haven't heard of any of the followers of D.M. Murdoch picking up where she left off. It's almost as if D.M. Murdoch became a cult leader rather than an educator, turning the students into teachers of the subject matter. I'm not seeing anybody emerge from D.M. Murdoch's publications, website, videos to continue on with her research. That was me. I'm the only one left on Earth, because I was doing it independently of her and was focusing first on the Old Testament because of Joseph Smith and the King Follett Discourse. And so it's unfortunate that I am not finding anybody else carrying on her work, but since I already know the subject matter and had been trained in science to develop theory tests for confirmation, yeah, I'm making all these discoveries because there's nobody else in the field doing it. She died back in 2015. Very tragic. Died of cancer. And Christians cheered. That was Christ-like of you guys, because it was on Christmas. And so they thought, yeah, God smote her down for teaching the truth. But yeah, I know what that's like being Mormon. And so, in a sense, what we are involved with now is the learning of the Jews' last days Passion Purim week. The 17th at 6 p.m. starts Purim for the Jews, learning of the Jews. And Purim comes from Ishtar. That's why I did the video about it the other day. And it's about the enemy being punished by the weapon they intended to use against the innocent. That's the general theme. And it's all throughout Scripture, as part of the Latter-day prophecies as well. And so with tomorrow being the 13th, there are 4 more days until the 17th, which is Purim, in 6 p.m. And so 4, what is the 4th letter of the Hebrew alphabet or Greek alphabet? Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Deleth in Semitic Hebrew. And so what is the significance of the D? Well, again, you have to be properly sex educated to know about double D's for David. And yes, it means both sexual love as well as nurturing love for babies. And so yes, if you can't catch on to what double D's mean, ask a woman. She'll inform you. But that was the intention, to use everything in life to communicate. Nothing is held back regarding knowledge. Our own bodies are symbolisms of ritualistic practices in religion, and thus the seed of Messiah, and all of that as well. And so King David has the double D's, and together they form the Jewish symbol of the sun, called the Star of David, which Isaiah calls Emmanuel, the god Ammon of the Egyptians. And so the 18th dynasty of Egypt are the David-Moses pharaohs. There they were the whole time, and Jews are still looking in Jerusalem to find evidence of what they've already found: David coming to Jerusalem during the first Armageddon battle against the Hittites. Isn't that fun? And so the Knights Templar with 13 is about that Purim aspect of the enemy getting ensnared in their own devices and it being used on them instead. And that's what the number of 13 is all about in Hebrew. The Messiah letter, Moshe, Moses, which means born of. And so, yes, his name was not Moses. Nobody was named Moses. There were some Moses, but it's always in connection with other names. But, yeah, born of. And has to do with the moon as well. And so, where is that moon in the sky for tomorrow? Well, because it's in Gemini today, you'll see it tonight. You'll see the actual formation of the twins. Yeah, no, you'll see it like I showed you in the first frame, and then the other frame that I had for you that I'll have put in also for tomorrow. Is that the moon will be in the crab constellation of Cancer. And what's significant about crabs in Cancer? Unfortunately, no, not that. That's a modern take on that thing. Cancer has the beehive constellation in it. The moon does not pass through it. It passes over the top of it. But it's in Cancer that has the beehive cluster. Huh. So beehive, huh? That's the symbol of Utah, which is phonetically the same as Judah, without the European corruption of the Yah being turned into Jah. You'll find that in Psalm 68, verse 4. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name, extol him that rideth upon the heavens by his name, Jah, and rejoice before him. That's actually Zeus. That is Yah in Semitic Hebrew phonetics. So, Jah, not Jar Binks, but there's a lot of Hebrewisms in that. That's the Jedi, the Sith, Amidala, handmaiden. Huh. Amidala is a handmaiden in that movie, isn't she? And Jedi sounds an awful lot like Judah, with different vowels. And Sith are like Seth, who was the one who murdered Osiris, took over his kingdom, and became King Seth, in Paleo Hebrew at Satan, with the N being the suffix determinative for king, and Melchizedek, as I've gone over with you. So Amen, the universal symbol of the sun, the M for high priest, N for king, Melchizedek. To avoid the too frequent name or use of the name Amen, we've expanded it into Melchizedek for you, and dropped the sun. They're not following the sun. And so you can see the symbolism that plays a part for tomorrow as a result, I hope. And so, yes, the moon there with the beehive cluster. And let me remind you of the great and abominable church, which are there at the neck, the shoulders of the goat beast, of Lucifer, Satan, King Set, who murdered Jesus, Osiris, chopped his body into 14 pieces, scattered them throughout the world, and then the missionaries of Isis, the church, goes out and gathers the 14 tribes back to Zion of Heliopolis, the sun city of On in Paleo-Hebrew, with the universal symbol of the sun and the N for kingdom. And there they assemble the body of Osiris so that Isis can then conceive Horus, the last days Mormon Moses, man like Moses, to restore the throne of Joseph Smith, who was murdered by his brethren Judas of Utah. And so the sacrament, when you go to church tomorrow, because I'm sure you're thinking, oh, everything's fine now, it's all clear, let's go back to church. Certainly no mutation would dare to molest or make afraid. But nonetheless, in church, there's that whole broken bread representing the broken body of Jesus. Where did his body get broken? I don't remember that. Yeah, it comes from Osiris. And then the blood that was spilt into the Nile River to be carried all around the world. So the scattering and gathering of Israel, the 14 tribes. Oh wait, there's Dinah. And so yes, when they assemble the pieces back to Zion, there's one piece missing on all women, like Dinah. And so a new one had to be made by the church. And so the prophesied Messiah comes out of the great and abominable church, and the last day's battle commences for the last day's supper, the last supper of the Lamb at the temple on April 8th, 2024. 2 years coming. And so there you see the church, the bride of Mars, the head of the church, on the shoulder of the goat beast of Lucifer, Satan. And Saturn, the father of Jesus, Zeus, or Jupiter, is at the tail of the goat beast for stars falling from heaven, as we will see that for Purim. I've gone over with you already. And so the sun is in Pisces on the back of Pegasus to remind us of 8 April 2024 that will cross in southern Illinois, where the Knights Templar buried Egyptian gold treasure plates in a cave with the sword unsheathed on the table that will never be sheathed again until the latter days, when our usurped kingdom will conquer the world leaders. John. It's so despicable what he did. Murdered Hiram with my third great grandfather's single shot. Then Joseph shot at him to chase him under the bed. And then Willard Richards came from behind and shot Joseph in the back. Then took his body and dumped it out the window to the well, where the mob then shot him repeatedly. And then Willard Richards took his 6-shooter that he got while he was getting the wine for the Last Supper, as he claims, and shot Hiram right, let's see, this right there, created the blood stain on the floor of Carthage jail. And then Heber C. Kimball, who was with Brigham Young to order such the act, extorted Hiram's wife and son, Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., to come with them to the desert, where Jesus says that if somebody says Jesus is in the desert, don't go. False Christ in the latter days, don't go with him in the desert. They really had no choice. Women did not have rights back then. They were property. And he was just a kid. He orders the murder of her husband and the father of, and then kidnaps them and turns him into an evil monster when he became the asterisk president, because the United States had shut down that criminal organization in 1887. And so yes, there is a Purim needed, as Great and Abominable Church is seeking to destroy Mormons and destroy the last days man like Moses, trying to save Mormons, just like Esther. And so tomorrow is the symbol of the 13th for Purim, which is one day after it's 14th. So that's interesting. Well, actually, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's still 10. 11, 12, 13. So is the 16th in the evening? I'm pretty sure it was the 17th in the evening. Let me fact check. You're no longer listening. And so if I gave you the wrong information, I did. Yeah, Purim is the 13th day at 6 p.m. Ah! That evening on the 13th, I should have known. I'm doing the video on it. You'd think I'd check it first. And also remember 3 Nephi chapter 1, which 3 Nephi 1 13, salvation Shua 10 Osh reversed. See how this is fun when you look beyond the mark? Look for things that you cannot understand. Yeah, the focus is Purim for 13. That's as far as you need to go, but there's a lot of fun stuff when you're dealing with numbers. Fun with numbers. So, I'm going to have to put it in the thumbnail picture to correct myself now. And lest I forget, it's the day of the sun tomorrow. Sunday. Okay, that was not obvious. So Amun, the sun at noonday of the Egyptians. Our Christ, the name of our Christ anyway, not the actual supernatural deity. No, human, learning of the Jews. That's his name, sun god.